Thank you, David. The Tigertown paw print has extended 50 kilometers north from Hamilton to Guelph. The Royal City, population just over 120,000, and Alumni Stadium on the campus of the University of Guelph, the temporary home for the Tiger Cats in 2013. Today, it's the season opener for the home opener for the Hamilton Tiger Cats against the Edmonton Eskimos.
And the opposing coaches for this matchup, Ken Austin, left the CFL as a champion following the 2007 season, returned with a loss in his Hamilton Tiger Cat debut last week. He looks to get this team rolling this season. Kavis Reed, in his third year as the Edmonton Eskimos head coach, comes into this year with a .500 record overall. Signed a new contract extension yesterday, and he is charged with the task of restoring the Eskimo way.
Ticats beat 39-34 in that shootout at Rogers Center last week. Well, it was a stumbling Eskimo start at home against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, a 39-18 loss. Oh, we like our temporary digs. Here we go. Luka Kanji kicks it off, and we're underway from Guelph. Hugh Charles on the return, slips away, and then fumbles the football, and the Ticats look like they're on it. Turnovers a problem last week for the Eskimos, and have they committed one on the opening play of this game? They have. It'll be Ticat football.
And a call from the field is fumble, no doubt. Right off the start of this game, the Edmonton Eskimos will be taking a close look.
Matt Buckner with the strip. That ball is out, and I believe it is Buckner who comes up with a football.
Great combination. Matt Buckner, Evan McCullough in on it. Clearly a strip. Buckner, the Hamilton native, product of the University of Windsor, comes up with the forced fumble and the recovery.
5 turnovers for Edmonton last week, like Winnipeg, and like Winnipeg, they said they wanted to avoid it in week 2. Burris to work, and he'll flip it out to Greg Ellingson. No Andy Fantus in the lineup, and we expect to see the newcomer Ellingson get even more work.
Ellingson with a big game last week, and he becomes one of the men to watch with Andy Fantus out of the lineup. 6 catches, 120 yards in his CFL debut. Henry Burris, career highs in passing yards and touchdown passes last year, picking up right where he left off under Kent Austin. And Simon Charbonneau-Campo out of the University of Sherbrooke makes his first career CFL start, replacing the injured Andy Fantus.
Starters to watch, brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, where custom advice comes standard. 2nd and 5, flags down, pass is caught by a man who was in Edmonton Eskimo camp playing his first game as a Tiger Cat. Ed Gant with the grab.
6'3", Ed Gant gives him another big receiver in that Ticat receiving corps.
No Andrea Jones, no Andy Fantus this week, both shaken up, and they had
offside. Hamilton number 85, 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
That's the second-year man, Charbonneau-Campo.
Oh, maybe some nerves getting a hold of the young guy on this one. Little jumpy, little anxious off the start.
And a stride ahead of the snap count. Without Fantus and Jones, that's half the receiving totals for the Ticats last week in that opening game against Toronto. So it's 2nd and 10. Pressure off the edge. Burris dumps it off, and the catch made by Gable short of the first down. C.J. Gable, who had 4 catches, a couple of touchdowns, but a drop last week that haunted him this week.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And Henry Burris pulled him aside in the locker room this week and told him, "I'm coming right back to you. I still have complete faith in you." Henry told us yesterday he thinks C.J. Gable has terrific hands. It's actually nice to see the young running back catch a tough one there, even if it's not for a first down. Sort of get the monkey off his back and move on from last week.
There are Kanji's numbers last week. The miss was from 34 yards out. This from 42. Josh Bartell, the holder. And Kanji's missed. And Joe Burnett is going to bring it out. And Joe Burnett's collared across the 15-yard line, up at the 18-yard line. He's taken down. So the Ticats miss an opportunity to make the Eskimos pay for the first turnover. CFL on TSN is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation that excites. Didn't look like a problem on the hold for Josh Bartel, who takes over for the injured Andy Fantuz in that department. A miss by Kanji. So no blood drawn, and Mike Riley will go to work with the Edmonton Eskimos. First down at the Edmonton 18-yard line. Quick hitter. Couple receivers in the line of fire there, and Fred Stamps has the catch. He led them with 6 for 125 last week.
Yeah, that's one of the guys we'll be keeping an eye on today. As always, Fred Stamps. Huge game last time. He faced the Hamilton Tiger Cats late last season. 9 catches, 204 yards. Mike Riley had his struggles, under 50%, 3 interceptions last week. Hugh Charles taken out of that game plan very early, just 6 touches, 27 yards for the S running back. He needs to be more involved today.
Stamps didn't take any reps this week, healing up after getting beaten up, and Riley takes off himself, turns the corner, and he has a first down up at the 40-yard line. Mike Riley led the Eskimos in rushing last week, 4 carries and 37 yards.
This is exactly the kind of play that's going to keep the defense honest. You've got a great play fake to Hugh Charles, and Riley just pulls and goes around the other end. But that defense, everybody's going to suck down to the inside on that run fake, and you see the athleticism that Mike Riley brings to the quarterback position for Edmonton.
Ticats surrendered an opening drive touchdown last week. Flag down. Hugh Charles off the right side into the secondary. Daylight foot race. There is a flag, but Hugh Charles hits the end zone. Let's find out what the penalty marker's all about. It's a 70-yard run for Charles. Murray Clark and the officials confer. Looks like this is going to stand. It's an Edmonton touchdown.
Offside. Hamilton number 40. Penalties decline. Result from the play is a touchdown.
Eric Norwood, the newcomer defensive end. Well, there's lots of newcomers. And Hugh Charles explodes for a 70-yard touchdown run.
Well, no sooner do we mention that Hugh Charles needs to be more involved, and he demonstrates it. They go with the 2-back set with Kelvin McCarty in there. But this is what Hugh Charles can do if you give him a crease, whether in the run game or a little bit of space in the passing game. A big play player. He needs to be one of the weapons they rely on, Chris.
Eskimos had 88 yards rushing last week. They have 86 on their first possession and the lead in Guelph. Davis Reed wanted Hugh Charles more involved. That happened quickly today.
It sure did. You don't get much more involved than that. Hugh Charles, 80-plus yards, slicing through that Hamilton Tiger Cat defense for the game's first score.
Well, the first kickoff last week to Hamilton resulted in a 104-yard touchdown return by Lindsay Lamar. He's back, and Lamar will field this right at the goal line. And good cover, that is Eli Nagoya, but he's going to get called. He's been a special teams demon in his rookie year for Edmonton in the preseason and last week against Saskatchewan.
Eli Nagoya, a guy who's been dubbed the new version of Jed Roberts. Backup defensive lineman. They love this guy on special teams.
Edmonton number 55. 15 yards at the end of the play. First down.
You know, Nagoya has the advantage here in Edmonton. He's got a little bit of a comfort zone. He's playing mostly special teams and defensive end by trade. His D-line coach here in Edmonton, Leroy Blue, is the man who recruited him to play at Bishop's University 4 years ago.
Guy with a 495-pound bench press. So up at the 35, Burris to work under pressure, and the Eskimos have their first sack of the year. Odell Willis gets home.
Well, this is just a great inside move by Odell Willis. Key newcomer on this Eskimo defense, rounding out a very good defensive line. He gets inside the right tackle. Mike Ingersoll here making his first start, sets him up out, and then just darts in. Good hands. Henry Burris never has a chance.
The incumbent at right tackle, Mark Dial, hurt. Joel Figueroa started last week. He was injured. And so Ingersoll gets the start. Loss of 10, 2nd and 20, and Charbonneau Campo well offside again as the ball is thrown downfield. Nice grab by Ed Gant at the 50. Would have been a first down, but this one's coming back. 85 on the waggle, offside for the second time in the opening quarter.
Charbonneau Campo is going to have to get himself settled down. Taking a big play off the board here for Hamilton.
Hamilton number 85. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Andy Fantu's hamstring injury Thursday. Charbonneau Campo got the assignment in his place.
And the young Canadian receiver frequently compared to Andy Fantus throughout his CIS career leading up to that 2012 draft. Big rangy guy, very productive receiver during his time at Sherbrooke.
6, 3 and 3.
And the entire offensive game plan had to be retooled. And now, time count violation as a late change. Bakari Grant came on late and they don't get the play off.
Remain second down.
So an unsettled start for the Ticats after an opening play fumble recovery.
And we'll check the play card to see what they've got drawn up for 2nd and 30 here.
Ken Austin talked about a couple of late nights Thursday and Friday, resetting the game plan without Fantus. So what do you have? 2nd and 30. 4-man rush. 8 drop, pressure on. Burris goes down. And it's Marcus Howard and Odell Willis putting on big-time pressure on Henry Burris.
This is what the Edmonton Eskimos envisioned back on February 15th, the CFL's free agent frenzy, when they signed Odell Willis, number 41, imagining him as the bookend with Marcus Howard. Just mixing it up on Mike Ingersoll. Ingersoll's sitting a little heavy on the inside now because he's been burned on that one. Well, this time Willis just ripped through to the outside. Again, Henry Burris is sitting duck.
So they'll concede the safety. Odell Willis with 24 sacks combined in 2010 and 11, just 6 last year, but he's got 2 in the opening quarter here on the campus of the University of Guelph. Well, here's the reason why we are in Guelph and not in the familiar home of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. At the end of last year, Ivor Wynne demolished to make way for a new Pan Am Games Stadium and Hamilton Tiger Cat home, but right now it doesn't look like very much as the construction is just getting underway.
Not quite there yet, but very excited to see the finished product.
Speaking of holes, the Ticats in a big one right now. Down 9 in the opening 5.5 minutes. And a good return here by Burnett. Up across the 45 near the 50 for Joe Burnett. And so a just over 50-kilometer drive up Highway 6 northwest of Hamilton to Alumni Stadium. And the home of the 1984 Bandier Cup champions, the Guelph Griffins, now under the leadership of Stu Lang, who's done a terrific job with the Griffins.
Sure has, former CFLer. Very well-supported program now under Coach Lang.
Former Edmonton Eskimo.
Wonder who he's cheering for today.
The 49-yard line. Riley back to work, looks one way, pulls it down, takes off, and he'll scamper for another first down. And a little change of direction there, and he steps out untouched. And so now over 100 yards rushing for the Edmonton Eskimos in the opening couple of possessions.
Well, this time, Hugh Charles turns blocker to help spring his quarterback, Mike Riley, originally as a pass blocker here. But as his quarterback starts to scramble, keep watching for number 7 at the left side of your screen. He comes in right there on the linebacker, Terrence Parks, pins him inside, allowing Riley to break contain for a first down.
18 for Mike Riley. First down, Charles, they stay on the ground. Charles met inside the 40-yard line. This D has been revamped. They're in a rebuilding process.
Well, after a tough year last year, a lot of new faces. One of the constants, though, Jamal Johnson, 361 tackles in 4 years as a Ticat. Many big hits if you saw the pregame feature. Ryan Bulkey, the only one of the 4 starting D linemen starting this week, who also started last week. They've turned over 3 guys, one of the new faces there with them. Craig Marshall, one of 3 Hamilton defenders, making his first CFL start today.
Last year, in the final regular season game, Markeith Knowlton, the only starter from that game who starts in this game for Hamilton on defense. Fred Stamps the catch, and a late flag. Delvin Bro is going to get called for the hit on Stamps out of bounds at the Eskimo bench, so it gets a little tougher for the Ticats.
Penalty woes on offense. Eventually cost him a safety, and penalty woes on defense, allowing the S to move even further down the field.
One of the many newcomers, Bro, who they're very high on the corner, had a pass interference call on Chad Owens last week.
Unnecessary roughness. Hamilton number 27. 15 yards at the end of the play. It's down.
Boy, it's been Murphy's Law here in this opening quarter. And the Ticat fans not happy.
Ken Austin, a low-key, level-headed guy in general on the sidelines, and he's going to need that.
So Edmonton's got a first down at the Ticat 16, 4 receivers to the wide side. Jamal Johnson calls the defensive signals. Quarterback drop, Riley, and Mike Riley will be tackling fumbles, and Matt O'Donnell is there to cover up. Alert play by the left guard. Or check that, Thaddeus Coleman, the left tackle. As the rain starts to fall here.
Another of the Giants. Nice blocking here. Watch the left guard, Simeon Rotier, as they set up this quarterback draw. Well executed. Excuse me, that's Matt O'Donnell on the left side, Rotier on the right side, both walling out their men.
Sam Scott knocked the ball loose, but the Eskimos get back on it. 2nd and 5. And 4 receivers wide side. Riley looking that way, into the end zone for Stamps, lays out, he's got it, touchdown for Stamps. And for Stamps, it's the 7th consecutive game with a touchdown catch for Edmonton.
Mike Riley finding quick chemistry with the one guy that he really needs to find that chemistry with. Fred Stamps over 100 yards last week, and a touchdown here. As you said, Chris, he keeps that touchdown streak alive. But he and Mike Riley didn't get a ton of time to work together in the preseason, as Stamps sat out both preseason games. But Riley suggests he felt that they had really clicked early on in training camp and had picked right up where they left off here in the regular season.
5 plays, 61 yards. Stamps burns Evan McCullough for the touchdown. And it's a stunning 16-0 lead for Edmonton, as Fred Stamps has another Edmonton Eskimo major score. Career high 9 touchdown catches last year for Fred Stamps, and number 2 has number 2 this season already with that grab from Mike Riley.
Fred Stamps, one of the most consistent receivers in the Canadian Football League. It's Nick Lewis and Jamel Richardson is the only receivers in the CFL to be over 1,000 yards each of the last 4 seasons.
So the defensive concerns in Hamilton will be amped up after this opening quarter.
Well, Edmonton's hurt them with a balanced offensive game. Big run from Hugh Charles, passing their way down the field on that drive.
And with the rain falling here in Guelph, a line shot to Lamar. Lindsay Lamar's got some room. Across the 50, and Lindsay Lamar gives Hamilton a big boost. Well, he had a return for a touchdown in the preseason, the 104-yarder last week against Toronto. There's a 68-yarder to try and kickstart the Ticats.
Lindsay Lamar, instant momentum for the Hamilton Tiger Cats with what he's done in the return game thus far this season. Outstanding in the preseason, outstanding a week ago. It's almost surprising when he doesn't score, Chris, based on what he's done so far in black and gold.
Aaron Grimes brings him down, Lamar, with 10.35 100-meter speed. So first down, Hamilton. Play action to Gable. Burris over the middle. He's got Bakari Grant inside the 15-yard line, tripped up by Aaron Grimes, but it's the Ticats now threatening on a 25-yard strike from Burris to Grant.
Bakari Grant may benefit a little bit from the domino effect of the injured receivers for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Grant moves to the spot usually occupied in the slot by Onrea Jones. Should see a few more footballs in there.
Initial first down of the game for the Ticats. They empty the backfield. 6 receivers out. Burris pumps. Anybody home? And now throws it away.
Henry Burris. Good decision to get rid of this one. We'll take a look back at the Edmonton Eskimo touchdown here. Fred Stamps, he's going to end up isolated on Evan McCullough. 2 short routes to the outside of him means he's got lots of space to work in the end zone. Sticks him to the inside, knowing the defender's got to protect that first, and separates to the outside on that break, and nicely thrown ball from his quarterback, Mike Riley.
And a penalty call on the play, and maybe that's why Henry Burris couldn't find anybody open in the end zone. They take it half the distance down to the 6.
First. Part of the emphasis for Ken Austin in working with Henry Burris this season, cutting down the turnovers. A turnover-free game for Hank last week.
So illegal contact on a receiver. Try to get the number for you. First and goal from the 7.
36-3.
Gable inside, and he'll crash down to the 2. J.C. Sherritt has the tackle. 6 for Sherritt last week in a losing cause against Saskatchewan.
The Edmonton Eskimos are going to rely on some of the vets in their defense, especially today against Henry Burris and the high-powered Cats offense. Sherritt, of course, over 200 tackles in 2 CFL seasons. Chris Thompson among the active leaders in career interceptions with 26 is in the secondary. TJ Hill, 313 tackles, 10 interceptions during his time in Edmonton.
So it's second and goal from the 2 out of the shotgun. Pass incomplete, but Aaron Grimes had his hands on the intended target at Gant. Grimes will plead his case, but that will be a first down for Hamilton.
A matchup probably frequently seen during the Edmonton Eskimos training camp. Gant working against Aaron Grimes.
Pass interference. Edmonton number 36 follows in the end zone. Ball be spotted at the 1. First down.
Hamilton gets Gant lined up out wide here. One-on-one against the first-year corner, Grimes out of University of Idaho. Grab as he tried to shake him to the inside for the slant.
So first and goal. Second man through is Gable, and he is thrown back. Did he break the play? And they're ruling it is a touchdown for C.J. Gable. Take a look down the goal line.
Right down the plane here, C.J. Gable, credited with his 3rd career CFL touchdown. That ball broke the front plane for sure.
Driven
just
back
barely.
Damaso Munoz, but too late. And Gable, who on Twitter last week earned the new nickname, the Gable Guy, has the Ticat touchdown. Anji the extra point. And the Ticats close the gap a little bit. Former USC Trojan C.J. Gable hits pay dirt.
Pretty good lineage when you talk about the running backs out of USC. C.J. Gable The only true freshman to start at tailback in the history of the Trojans program.
The guy didn't take me on. He like
Rain getting heavier, and that, of course, scoring drive all set up by the Lindsay Lamar kick return.
Yeah, great to have a short field to work with, and that's what Lindsay Lamar provides for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in this game of field position. Offense capitalizes on the momentum provided by that big return from Lamar. A week ago, Lindsay Lamar, get used to seeing this guy.
Only kickoff in Hamilton Ticat history longer than this was by Tommy Grant back in 1962, 105 yards, Lamar 104 in his first touch in the Canadian Football League. Only other Ticat to do that, Marcus Thigpen. And now in a heavy downpour, Joe Burnett fields it at the 6. And Burnett slips away. Besley finally knocks him off balance up around the 25-yard line. Well, it's a campus-like atmosphere, and it's got that university feel. This is how the players get from their locker rooms to the field. Bring back some memories.
Sure does. Playing at the University of Western Ontario. Had an opportunity to play in this stadium a number of times.
Michael O'Shea made that run. Probably the highest profile Griffin. Boy, it's really coming down here as Mike Riley goes back to work. Short drop, pressure on. Looking downfield for Sweeney, and it's intercepted. Delvin Breaux comes up with it. Delvin Breaux in the heavy rain has his first Canadian Football League interception.
And Breaux just has himself positioned perfectly on this play. Receiver walled to the outside. Good body control, gets himself turned, running on the hip of that receiver, head around.
And Dwayne, I think they're calling this incomplete as he doesn't survive contact at the end of it.
You see the ball pop out as he hits the ground here. Yeah, didn't have secure possession long enough, and as you said, didn't survive that landing.
Sweeney playing defender at the end of the play. Delvin Breaux, and it's early, but there are physical comparisons to Brandon Browner, and maybe not quite as aggressive, but in that mold of cornerback.
Yeah, there's a suggestion from a couple people with the Ticats that he might actually have better feet than Browner.
Second and 10, flag down. Riley long out. Nate Kuhorn's got the catch. There's Breaux on the scene. And Kuhorn close to the first down, pending the penalty. Kuhorn leading the Eskimos last week in catches with 7.
Nate Kuhorn will never go down without a fight. Third-year man out of the University of Calgary.
Offside. Hamilton number 40. Holding. Edmonton number 68. Go back 5 yards, repeat the down. First down.
So Norwood offside, Coleman the hold. And they'll move it back.
Second and 15 now for the Eskimos.
That'll be a battle to watch. Coleman returning to the Edmonton Eskimos this year after a couple of years down south. Eric Norwood making his CFL debut, but a guy who's a terrific pass rusher in college at the University of South Carolina.
Interesting story in how he gets here. Second and 15. Riley sets up. And look for Kuhorn out of bounds. Kid Austin remembered Norwood from a game he played against Ole Miss in which he had 3 quarterback sacks, 10 tackles. And a few years later, Kid Austin gives him a call and says, I want you on my team.
Well, he sure does. Norwood left the University of South Carolina as the school's career leader in both sacks and tackles for loss. He was all SEC 3 years for the Gamecocks. 3 of his 4 seasons.
Was on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers negotiation list, and when he was dropped, the Ticats scoop him up. Grant Shaw the kick, and it'll bounce at midfield for Lamar to pick up. That'll be a 5-yard, no yards penalty against the Eskimos. Just a 34-yard punt. So after that terrible start, the Ticats get a touchdown and now get field position in Edmonton territory.
Against Lindsay Lamar, 5 yards. You'll take that.
That's a good trade-off.
No yards. Edmonton number 38. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Eric Samuels was the guilty party. Well, this will all benefit the Guelph Griffin football program. I mentioned 1984 Vanier Cup champions. Michael O'Shea, one of the biggest names, and so too Tom Dimitra.
Yeah, and of course, Kyle Walters, assistant general manager of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who's the last coach prior to Stu Lang here at the University of Guelph as well.
First back to work, looks downfield. Wanted to hook up with the fullback, John Delahunt. The Ottawa product. Ball's incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. Delahunt undrafted this year. But the Ticats very excited about their fullback.
Yeah, absolutely. Delahunt played tight end at the University of Connecticut. The Ottawa native getting involved, as you see, offensive coordinator Tommy Condell. Guy with some Ottawa roots himself, former coach with the Renegades.
Gonna have to put some wipers on the camera here. Wow, coming down, 2nd and 10, and Burris is dropped, and there's Marcus Howard. That's 3 sacks so far in the game. Willis has 2, and now Howard has his first of the year.
Well, you knew this Hamilton offensive line, which has the potential to be a pretty good group, is going to have its hands full with the Edmonton Eskimo front 4. Watch off the far left side of your screen. Marcus Howard coming again, working on that right tackle.
Expectations high for that front 7. Didn't materialize last week, but a great start here. There's Joe Burnett with a flag down on that punt return. Tackle was made by Frederick Plessius in his first game as a Hamilton
On the
Ticat.
return, holding. Edmonton number 48. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Kyle Norris, rookie out of St. Mary's.
Had a great opening game with 3 special team tackles last week. But the Eskimos are in a hole here. Mentioned Plessius, who was the number 10 pick in 2012, went back to Laval, finished up there.
Collected himself another Vanier Cup ring on the way. And joined the Tiger Cats just before their season opener last week.
Riley, play action on a roll. Gets the ball to Pope. And he is taken down quickly. There's Arthur Hobbs in a defensive halfback this week for D. Webb in a revamped Week 2 defense for the Hamilton Ticats.
And Henry Burris talked to us a little bit about Arthur Hobbs yesterday and believes this young man's going to be a good one. Said he's one of those guys that as training camp went on, in those offense versus defense periods, you started noticing Hobbs more and more every day.
In fact, he's predicting an interception for Hobbs. We filed that away today. 2nd and 10. Handoff. Charles, big room. And on a 2nd and 10 run, Hugh Charles moves the chains, and that's a big run on the final play of the opening quarter. Eskimos get a fresh set of downs after an explosive start, keyed by Hugh Charles and Fred Stamps. Well, through most of the halftime, the rain subsided, but as the players are coming back onto the field, rain starts to fall once again. 16-13, Eskimos with the lead, and Claude Vague is with Hamilton Ticat head coach Kent Austin.
Well, Ken, it seems like it's the tables have been turned a little bit here. The offense that did so well last week was shut down a little bit. The defense seems to have stepped up. Have you seen something more that you like from the defense?
Defense is playing well. We put them in a bad situation early. Pretty tough to play in a monsoon, though.
Yeah. And I know that they got the head start. They scored their points before it really opened up. So how much more difficult does it make it for you guys, and how do you sort of change the approach in the second half?
Well, we got to modify what we're doing based on the weather. And, we had 2 first downs, the first 2 drives. And we were off sides with the receiver twice. So we got to eliminate the stupid mistakes. And we got to quit giving up the big play.
All right, Ken, thank you.
Yep.
Chris.
So under these conditions, Claude, let's talk to Dwayne Ford about what modifications you'd expect because of the weather.
Well, it's funny because you heard Hugh Charles talked about it at the start of halftime. Paul LaPolice talked about it a little bit. One of the big things, and of course I'm biased, but you rely on your run game a little bit and not necessarily rely on the pass, which we saw becomes a little bit tougher in terms of ball handling. The deep routes maybe go by the wayside, not entirely, but a little bit more, because you still got to run your offense. Some of the routes, as Matt Dunnigan mentioned, where you get your receivers coming back to the quarterback, and although you don't really want them using their body to catch the ball, at least they've got a little bit more security in terms of handling the ball and any sort of bobbles or deflections there. So you got to put your guys in a position to be successful with the way you call your plays in these conditions.
I think Kent Austin used the right word, monsoon. I don't remember many games where the rain was as torrential as we saw in the opening half. Tough conditions for kicker Grant Shaw. Many of the players, you saw Hugh Charles, though, thrive in the conditions. Kent Austin's passing game did not. And they were sloshing around in the second quarter. It looked like with the rain stopping during halftime, the field did drain quite a bit. And we expect better conditions for the second half, but again, the rain picking up a little bit once again.
One of my hopes is that they can find a few dry footballs somewhere around Alumni Stadium to at least get started with here in the second half. And it's a combination of things. The wetness is one thing, and obviously that makes the ball a little bit slick. But when the rain is as relentless and as heavy as it was in that first half, the ball's become it partly becomes the weight of the ball. I mean, it's football players, primarily receivers. You saw Grant Shaw as a punter used to catching snaps. It's something that you do so often. You become used to the weight of the ball, the feeling of the ball as it hits your hands, and it feels entirely different hitting your hands when it's that much heavier.
Memory serves me correctly, it was pretty good downpour in the final game at Ivor Wynn, and here we are back in the rain again in Guelph, and no sign of a let-up as we get set to start the second half. Lindsay Lamar is back. Grant Shaw will kick it off, and it will be C.J. Gable from the Ticat 12-yard line. He'll take it across field. See if he can find a crease, and gets pulled down by Mike Cornell, who's got a large cheering section here for the game today, and Cornell makes the special team tackle.
Mike Cornell, an Ontario boy, has some fans. See the Ticats kicking away from Lindsay Lamar, by the way, that time from the opposite hash. Ticat offensive leaders through the first half. Henry Burris, 8 of 14, 86 yards, far off the 300 plus of last week. Bakari Grant, 3 catches. Greg Ellingson, 2 catches, looking to step up in the absence of Andy Fantuz and Andrea Jones.
Ticats had only 3 points in the second half last week against the Argos. They did miss a short field goal, and C.J. Gable dropped what looked like was going to be a touchdown on the second last play of the game. Here's a catch by Charbonneau Campo. He was the guilty party on those early offsides that seemed to have the Ticats spinning their tires.
Simon Charbonneau Campo here, he's on one of those hook routes, a comeback route like we talked about, and using that body as much as you don't want him to. A little bit of a security blanket in the conditions, cushioning that ball as it comes in.
He kidded in meetings with Henry Burris this week that if Fantuz is out, he'll take the 155 this week. Fantuz with 10 for 155 in the opener. Lamar inside, and J.C. Sherritt fills the hole and takes down Lamar as the Ticat showed 2 back with Lamar and Gable.
Yeah, as he was a year ago, J.C. Sherritt absolutely everywhere. Number 47 spies, scrapes right off the block of Brian Simmons into the backfield.
Here early and often. BC Sherritt.
Here very early. 4 hours before kickoff today.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. Evil stays in the block, picks up Sherritt over the middle, ball drop. Charbonneau Campo can't hold on.
That one just ate him up. Almost looked like Charbonneau Campo wasn't ready for that ball as it came over top of the offensive line. Wonder if there may have been a point there on that shallow route if he might have lost sight of his quarterback, Henry Burris.
So Bartel in. Kicking away, a good boot. Driving Burnett back to his 13-yard line. Flag comes down and Burnett gets drilled. 50-yard punt. And there's Jamal Johnson on the scene again. Check our flag.
On the return, holding. Edmonton number 48. 10-yard penalty. First step.
That's Kyle Norris called for the hold. Eskimo football when we come back. Back in rainy Guelph, where Claude Fag is standing by with a couple of soon-to-be Canadian Football League Hall of Famers.
Well, Chris, even Mother Nature's not going to dampen the spirits here today. Miles Gurrell, Earl Winfield honored at halftime by the Tiger Cats, going to the Hall of Fame. First of all, Earl, 11 seasons, over 10,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. As you recall your career, what stands out for you?
My teammates. It's always the people I meet along the way. I love football, and I will continue to love football, but I tell you, I had a lot of great moments in the locker room, hanging out with Miles and some other guys. You know, they know who they are, so it was a great time for me.
And you just missed out on a Grey Cup in '89, and I hate to bring that up to you again, but Miles, you were able to win one in '86, 4-time CFL East All-Star, a longevity in this league, 19 seasons. What does it mean to you to go to the Hall?
Well, it's a lot of fun getting to go in with one of your teammates like Earl Winfield, and I just love being a part of the CFL and having a chance to go into the CFL Hall of Fame. The Canadian Football Hall of Fame is just enjoyment, and having my family with me and being surrounded by great fans at Hamilton, it's a lot of fun.
All right, Miles, congratulations on the Hall call. Same for you, Earl. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Chris.
Yeah, I'll second that, Claude. Two great Hall of Famers. The Tiger Cats force it 2 and out here. The Pearl, Earl Winfield. What a tremendous receiver and special team return man for the Ticats. And Big Miles cleared the way for a lot of Tiger Cat yardage.
Yeah, growing up watching this league, a couple of the names that you remember very well. And I mean, if you didn't like Earl Winfield, certainly you didn't like the Canadian style of play. He fit perfectly in this league. And Miles Gurrell, just a legend on the offensive line.
Evan McCullough shaken up, the defensive halfback. They lost D. Webb last week, along with Ricardo Coakley, and that caused a lot of shifting the back end of the Hamilton Tiger Cat defense for this game.
And this can affect a little bit of the confidence and communication on the back end as well. When you look, a fairly young group, you know, you've got James Patrick, a veteran, in at free safety. He was flanked by a couple of veterans at halfback, and Evan McCullough and D. Webb, who went down last week. Counting on those guys to be stabilizing forces back there. Now they get a little bit less experienced, and a lot of times what happens is the communication among those 5 guys becomes a whole lot less clear.
So the 2 and out brings Shaw on. Do they give up 2, or does he kick away to Lamar waiting at midfield? Good punt by Grant Shaw. And Lamar drops the football. And who's on it? The Eskimos look like they've got it. Lindsay Lamar's had a little trouble with it today. And up with the football come the Edmonton Eskimos. The recovery by a former Ticat, Chris Rabakamba.
Your muscles give you strength, but when they ache, they weaken you. Try Tylenol Muscle and Body. It's specially formulated to relieve muscle and body pain for up to 8 hours. Tylenol Muscle and Body. Get back to normal, whatever your normal is.
Last year, you helped Pure Later Tackle Hunger raise over 1 million pounds of food for food banks across Canada. Let's keep the drive alive. Go to PureLaterTackleHunger.com to find out how you can get involved. Pure Later Tackle Hunger.
One hotel, one price? No, every website has a different price, but with Trivago, you find the best one. Trivago instantly compares prices to find you the best deal. Hotel? Trivago.
Coors Light Iced Tea.
At Kia, the 2014s are already here at clear-out rates with 0% financing for up to 84 months on the all-new Forte, inspired by tech culture, with Bluetooth and available Uvo infotainment system, and the all-new versatile 2014 Rondo, Canada's urban utility vehicle, with available 7-passenger seating, or the refined 2014 Sorrento, with available panoramic sunroof and V6 engine. Kia's early arrivals event, this month only, with clear-out rates like 0% financing for up to 84 months on select new 2014s.
Well, in the wet conditions, we lost the camera showing you the two future Hall of Famers. So there's a good look at Myles Gurrell and Earl Winfield. And Earl, number 2 among all wideouts in CFL history, yardage-wise, behind only Donald Narcisse. And he could do this too.
He sure was. Tremendous special teams guy. Great in the open field. Speedster, just a guy who was perfectly suited to play up here. You heard him saying he loved playing in Hamilton. Well, Hamilton sure loved watching him play.
52-yard flip of the field on that fumble by Lindsay Lamar, picked up by the 4 Ticats. Free agent signing by Edmonton, Chris Robacumba. Now Riley to the far side and overthrows Nate Kuhorn.
Edmonton benefited. You always question when a team decides to punt out of their own end zone whether it's going to pay off. You hope it doesn't backfire on them. The punt proves to be a great offensive play in terms of the yardage gain for the Edmonton Eskimos. As Lindsay Lamar, he's had trouble with about the last 3 punts as that ball has gotten heavy and wet. You wonder if visibility is an issue when the rain really picks up. But this is the one that's really costing them most as Edmonton recovers the fumble.
2nd and 10 at the Hamilton 48. Pressure, pass is complete. Calvin McCarty in the flat, and he gets taken down quickly.
Well, Mike Riley took a heck of a shot from Markeith Knowlton. Knowlton's coming off the edge. He's the untouched guy, the free man coming right around the edge. And after this one, Mike Riley was looking for maybe a shot on a head call as Knowlton came in up high. So even before he got up, he's looking to the official for a flag on that one.
3rd down. It looked like they were thinking of leaving the offense on the field, 3rd and 3, but at the last second, Shaw and the punt team comes on. So a late decision there. Thought about gambling, but instead they're going to give Shaw the responsibility of hitting the Ticats or maybe forcing Lamar to make another play. And Shaw, a little tap dance before he boots it downfield. And this one again off Lamar, and does Edmonton come up with it? Big scramble for the football. I thought Lamar might have let that bounce into the end zone. And in the pileup, looked like the Eskimos had a real good shot at the football.
Over on the sideline, I imagine Ken Austin's got to be doing a quick scan to see if he's got someone else over there who can catch balls on the punt.
Believe that Lamar or somebody wearing black and gold got back on it, but you're right. How long does Ken Austin let Lamar field it in these inclement conditions?
Yeah, Lindsay Lamar gets a long leash because of how dangerous he has proven to be as a return man, but
Ticat football, but deep in their own zone when we return to Alumni Stadium.
A trend is developing in this football game, and it's one that Ken Austin and his special teams coach Jeff Reinbold can't like. Lindsay Lamar, the last 4 consecutive punts He's had all sorts of trouble holding on to the football. Edmonton recovers one, but they don't score points off it, but gain a lot of field position, and he struggles again on the next one, leaving the Ticats backed up deep in their own end. One that he probably should have let bounce into the end zone for a single, Chris.
So it remains a 3-point game, but a first down at the 5. Pressure on the screen, knocked down and almost intercepted. Would have been a touchdown for Marcus Howard.
Well, and after last week, CJ Gable had the drop on what could have been the winning touchdown on a screen. And now this one, Marcus Howard, he's coming off that edge and finds himself in perfect position. Right there, he recognizes what's going on. He stops his rush.
And Munoz was the next man behind him. There was a couple of Eskimos that could have had a shot at that football.
Well, there sure were, but Ticats might be real nervous to call another screen pass, too.
2nd and 10. Time for Burris. Over the middle, and it's intercepted. TJ Hill's got the ball. He'll get tossed down by Charbonneau Campo, but the veteran TJ Hill in his 7th year has a big interception. And Henry Burris says, that's on me.
Yeah, just a ball that's underthrown on the play. TJ Hill, veteran at that Sam nickel linebacker spot. He's running the route for the receiver. Simon Charbonneau Campo on the play and just comes underneath him. This is one Hank's got to get it up over the top. It comes short. TJ Hill goes down and gets it.
Great chat with TJ yesterday. Big play for the Eskimos here. That's the first interception tossed by Henry Burris in 2013. First down inside the 30. Charles tries to get to the outside, tripped up. Great pursuit there. We're seeing a very active Eric Harris on the defense for Hamilton, and a little bit of a scrap going on here with flags down. And Eric Norwood, the newcomer defensive end, getting pulled away by some of his Ticat teammates. Orlando Steinauer gets Norwood off to the sidelines. And Murray Clark's crew will try and sort things out.
Gets the don't take a bad penalty talk from the head coach, Ken Austin.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 58. Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Hamilton number 40. After the play, 2nd down.
So Cliff Lewis, the right tackle of the Eskimos, called, and you assume it might have been Norwood on the retaliation.
Yeah, those two are going head-to-head. See a lot of each other as an offensive tackle versus defensive end. And there's the play Norwood didn't like, and I didn't like that play either. No need to go for the guy's legs right there.
So 2nd and 11. Henry and Coke switch sides. Riley's got time. The out is thrown, and it's complete. Cohorn's got it. As a Ticat tried to jump the route and come up with the interception and missed.
Yeah, Arthur Hobbs, the rookie halfback, took a gamble, tried to dart in front of that one. Look at the terrific concentration here as you get Nate Cohorn's view of this play. As Hobbs flies in front of his face, just mistimes that lunge. Cohorn stays with it. Pull it in for a first down.
First catch of the day for Nate Cohorn. First down for the Eskimos. Ball at the Ticat 13. They fake the fly sweep. They've got Hugh Charles wide open, and Charles touchdown. Another flip from Hugh Charles, and a double dip as he has a touchdown on the ground, and now one through the air.
The Eskimos sticking to that philosophy, paying off for them, getting Hugh Charles involved. Charles out of that backfield. Watch Kerry Koch in the cross motion. That freezes the defense. Shamari Williams, the guy pressing to the quarterback, but nobody goes out to the flat with Hugh Charles. We've seen a similar look where they've handed Charles the ball, and that has drawn the defense in to allow that play to open up as nobody stayed with him when he didn't get the ball that time.
James Reed said he'd like to see his running back be the number 2 receiver on the team. Just his first catch of the game, but Hugh Charles hits the end zone once again. Penalty on the point after, but they'll sort out.
Hugh Charles has been such a productive player when given the opportunity. Kavis Reed and the Eskimos want to make sure he gets lots of opportunities this season to take the pressure off QB Mike Riley.
And at the end of that series for the Eskimos, offensive line coach
Very roughness. Hamilton number 6. 15 yards, slide and kickoff.
That's Nate Bussey called, and they'll tack that onto the kickoff as Hugh Charles hits pay dirt.
Edmonton manages to free up Hugh Charles from the backfield here, and they do it with the motion of Kerry Koch. He's the guy coming across your screen. As he goes, both defenders follow him on his motion. That leaves Hugh Charles all by himself out to the flat. Easy pickings for Mike Riley. He's celebrating the touchdown about 7 yards out. Hugh Charles gets it done. It's second of the day.
After the penalty, the kickoff deep into the end zone, and out comes C.J. Gable. Gable will get tripped up just across the 15. 3 plays, 27 yards for the Eskimos after the T.J. Hill interception. Midway through the third quarter, it's now a 10-point Eskimo lead.
The Ticats reeling a little bit right now. And this is where we need to see how Henry Burris reacts. One of the things Ken Austin talked a little bit about in bringing a veteran quarterback even further along, and Henry Burris in particular, is avoiding the disaster play. And I'm sure he would categorize that T.J. Hill interception deep in his own territory as a disaster play. Now the test for Henry Burris is to shake that one off and move on.
Again, without Andy Fantuz on Rhea Jones, Dave Stella's on the 9 game. He's got an open man here. Charbonneau Ocampo up across the 35 to the 37. The target on the play that was intercepted by T.J. Hill.
Charbonneau Ocampo, 2012 draft choice for these Hamilton Tiger Cats. Again, a guy frequently compared during his college career to Andy Fantuz, 6'4" receiver. This is the guy can make the big plays, not a blazer, a lot like Fantuz, but very capable of catching the deep ball. Hamilton hopes that he can develop like Andy Fantuz in terms of over the next few years, improving his strength, his football IQ. Be a big contributor.
22-yard pickup, first down. Burris looking deep, wants Bakari Grant, and Grant can't hang on. Pretty good coverage there by a former Ticat, the veteran in the secondary, Chris Thompson.
Chris Thompson, one of the key veterans back there at halfback, 26 career interceptions. Thought for a second he had number 27 right there, through his hands and then off the hands of the receiver, Bakari Grant.
Has been all CFL, played his 100th CFL game last week. A lot of former Ticats wearing green and gold, and a lot of former Eskimos now in Tiger Town. 2nd and 10. There's Burris over the middle, and just off the fingertips of Thompson. Otherwise, Ellingson was going for a lot of real estate.
It sure did look like Ellingson was off to the races. But the veteran Thompson back-to-back plays on the football here. Just reaches out that left hand at the last second to just deflect it away from the receiver.
I know Ed Hervey was talking about Thompson, saying nobody ever talks about him. One of the reasons because he's never a focal point. Nobody's making yardage on him. Good punt, and has Burnett back at his 27. And he'll be hauled down at the 34-yard line. Tackle made by James Patrick, the former Saskatchewan Rough Rider. 45-yard kick, 6 on the return. So Mike Riley has 2 touchdown passes in the game. Hugh Charles has a touchdown catch and a 70-yard touchdown run. And now Mike Riley wants to expand this lead.
Yeah, well, mission accomplished thus far for the Edmonton Eskimos is a big part of the desire to get Hugh Charles involved. Obviously, taking the pressure off Mike Riley, for one. Also taking the pressure off that offensive line. You run the football, let them get in a rhythm, not put them back on their heels of constantly pass blocking and being in defend mode.
Golston shows pressure. They get it away to Charles, and he's able to get down and around the 40-yard line and has 6. And that was an emphasis point for Edmonton this week. Not only the run game with Charles, but trying to get him the football as a receiver, and a couple of catches here in the second half.
Well, as we saw in the touchdown pass to Hugh Charles, he's given a lot of space out in the flat there. That was a ball that got away from Mike Riley and really floated out there. Tighter coverage, Hamilton's got a chance to make a play on that football, but nobody's right with Hugh Charles in the flat.
Number 4 in yards from scrimmage last season. Charles straight ahead, he'll get stacked up short of the first down. Ticat defense is stout. Sam Scott, former Calgary Stampeder, at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, Scott, a guy who played a handful of games for Calgary back in 2011. Big defensive end out of Westchester University. Also played varsity basketball for a couple years at Westchester. Big rangy athlete. The Ticats like the upside they see from him.
Brandon Boudreau shaken up, not in the lineup this week, and so too former Eskimo Greg Peach. So that's why Scott and Norwood are at the ends today. Lindsay Lamar back again. The rain has stopped. Shaw's punt. A nice one outside the numbers, and Lamar won't get his hands on that. 52 yards and no return. Well, there's so much of our world to uncover, and Discovery has created a channel that captures it all. Discovery World, free preview all July. Call your television provider for more information. Look at the fans that have braved the elements here on campus here at Guelph.
I think this is going to be a great atmosphere for the Hamilton Tiger Cats this season. A small, intimate stadium, enthusiastic crowd.
Home again next week against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Bombers are bringing their real team this time. Pre-season, they got a lot of training camp fodder, and they were fodder. 52-0 losers, and there's Jaguar with a catch. He's brought down by Joe Burnett. Mentioned big interception by TJ Hill in a visit we had yesterday. A guy that runs sports and mentor camps in Patterson, New Jersey, his hometown, and helped train a guy that NFL fans are very familiar with, Victor Cruz, and brother Eddie also coached Victor Cruz in high school.
And New York Giants receiver, Super Bowl hero.
Didn't see any salsa dance from TJ after the interception.
That's not his style. TJ's a pretty quiet guy, a true professional out there.
Second and short. And it will be Lamar run for a first down. He's one of the leaders in that defense. You see him in on the play again. And small guy who mentioned that he went to a hockey school at Northeastern, and that hockey thing haunted him a bit. He was nominated twice for top collegiate athlete in Boston, and twice lost to Brian Giunta in a battle of the big men, or little men.
Yeah, TJ Hill gets our vote here at CFL on TSN.
Well, he's been a mainstay for 7 years, and was 2 tackles short of 300 as an Edmonton Eskimo coming into this game. And off to Lamar, and he protects the football, taken down by Damaso Munoz as they try and establish the ground game with Lindsay Lamar. Good first down production up over the 35, and he has 8.
Yeah, we saw Lamar with a couple of carries last week in Toronto as well. He's trying to find more ways to get the ball into the hands of their fastest offensive player.
when he played at the University of South Florida. The nickname was Lightning. We've seen a few strikes from Lindsay Lamar already, and a first down across the 40 as they try and get this run game established and get the Eskimos defense on its heels.
You're seeing a little bit of creativity in the offensive play calling, and the formation here essentially becomes a 3-back formation as you've got the fullback / tight end John Delahunt, running back CJ Gable, and then Lindsay Lamar all in the same formation. Other 2 backs block on the backside as they really like Gable as a blocker. Let Lamar bring it the other way.
Another tackle for TJ Hill. So it's a first down. Burris flushed. They take off, flag down. GC Sheridan in pursuit. And Burris will step out up around the 48-yard line. And Odell Willis is playing referee and signaling this is going against Hamilton.
That's in that territory. Odell Willis, Marcus Howard. The rest of that front 4 have been a factor today for sure.
Holding. Hamilton number 67. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Left guard Peter Diakowski. The smartest man in Canada has been called on the hold.
Right here you've got Peter Diakowski blocking the man in front of him. Don Aramacion, the defensive tackle. Aramacion gets the edge. Just as Burris starts to scramble again, I say this all the time, as an offensive lineman, you're blocking based on where you expect your quarterback to be. The defensive guy has the advantage of being able to see him. Sometimes you lose your leverage.
First and 20. And Burris on the run. A pump, and he'll take off. And lunges back to the original line of scrimmage with Chris Thompson there defensively. But it's been a better performance by that front 7 today that I think a lot of people thought had to carry the Eskimos in the early going until Mike Riley and the offense got going. Saskatchewan shredded them last week, but they've responded here in week 2.
Yeah, and this was going to be a test for them. I mean, this was sort of experience against experience in this game, and an experienced defensive coordinator in Greg Marshall. You mentioned the front 7. I mean, that's where the veterans are, and some continuity is for the Edmonton Eskimos. They've got to hold down the fort against Burris.
Second and 10. Odell Willis in pursuit. He misses. Burris will dump it off, and it's incomplete. As CJ Gable was unable to haul it in on the final play of the 3rd quarter. And now it's an Eskimo 10-point lead, headed to the 4th and Guelph. Lots of points in week 1, and we may have lots of points today.
Yeah, potential for a shootout between these 2 teams if the wet track doesn't slow them down. But we're seeing signs of it in the 1st quarter for sure.
And the rushing yards for the Eskimos, that's a headline story, and that was a point of emphasis from Cabus Reed when we spoke with him yesterday.
Yeah, it sure was. And philosophically for Edmonton, you've got to be consistent. One of the things they believe is that they've got a handful of very important weapons that need to be involved. Fred Stamp's obviously one of them. He got his catches last week. It looks like he's getting them again here so far today. But Hugh Charles, only 6 touches last week, but they feel he's one of the keys to their offense.
And take some pressure off the young quarterback, Mike Riley.
Well, no doubt. We've seen both Charles involved and Riley himself involved in the run game, and that's going to slow down that pass rush a little bit.
Well, they get a little breathing room on that 14-yard run by Charles on a 2nd and 10 call. So back inside and lots more room as Hugh Charles turns it up against this Ticat run defense.
Well, another one of the keys for the Edmonton Eskimos in terms of the offensive game plan, taking that pressure off for them, is going to be Kelvin McCarty. He's in at fullback, playing a lot of downs. He's got the kick-out block here on the defensive end on this play. Now, we've seen McCarty in a lot, whether in the backfield, lined up as a tight end. We've seen him line up out in the slot in this ball game, but he's playing a lot of snaps. They think he's a versatile X-factor within this offense.
A dozen for Charles, so he's hit 100 on the day already. Little bust here, the pitch to Charles, and he's going to eat it back at the 25, but a late flag on Jamal Johnson. Okay. They'll argue the call. And you can see Johnson pleads his case, but the referee ruling that Hugh Charles had sacrificed himself and was just conceding the play.
Unfortunate twist for Hamilton here. If the big defensive play is negated in terms of yardage by the penalty.
Well, you saw that feature before the game on Johnson.
Yeah, they might have to do an updated version and add that clip.
Great play on Riley, but gets flagged for that second hit with Charles covering up. And the way the Ticat defense is going, you just can't take penalties and stay on the field. So it's a first down up at the 40. Back to Charles, and this time nothing doing. And met by Jamal Johnson once again. And if you didn't see the Johnson piece of the pregame show, check tsn.ca. It's a good one.
Sure is one of the great veterans. Great veteran on the other side of the ball, Calvin McCarty. We talked about the versatility of this guy. We're seeing him a little bit more as a blocking back. I'll tell you, a couple years ago, 2009, led all CFL running backs in receptions with 583 yards out of the backfield that year. Down to just 5 catches last year. They've got to get him more involved.
Lines up as a tight end on this play. 2nd and 8. Riley under pressure, flushed. And the pass to the sidelines is caught, but it'll be short of the first down as Isaiah Sweeney holds on and gets drilled up around the 45-yard line.
Hamilton getting a little pressure to Mike Riley that time. Quarterback elects not to run, finding his outlet as the wide side receiver in Sweeney.
Well, we're going to remember the weather conditions for the first regular season game in Guelph. Torrential downpour here. Ball security will be difficult. And corralling Lindsay Lamar might be too on this slick field. And Shaw. Tumbling punt. Lamar has trouble with it. That's on the carpet. And the Ticats get on it as Lamar gets bailed out. Good recovery there by Eric Harris. We are waiving our no umbrella rule today to head to the sidelines for Claude Faig.
Thanks very much, Chris. I really appreciate that. You know, before Mother Nature spoiled the party, I had a chance to go into the stands and talk to some of the fans about attending Ticat games here at Alumni Stadium this season. And I also talked to the players early in the week. Henry Burris saying that it has a college feel. It kind of has turned the clock back for him a little bit as far as the age is concerned. Ken Austin also liking the field, but saying that he's trying to keep his guys focused. And whether it's a home game or an away game, he said the field's the same size. The guys still have to put on the pads the same way. The only concern, guys, is I got gypped. I didn't get a chance to sample the fine food up there.
Oh, we haven't done that either, but but a pretty good fan-friendly area in behind the main grandstand here. Talked to Mike Riley about it yesterday, and he got the sense it was a lot like Empire Field, a smaller version of when the Lions played in for their time. The Box J boys are here, got their section. Second down, there's Charbon Ocampo with the catch, but it'll be short of the first down, and the Ticat punt team will have to come on. Well, they've moved to section 103 for this season.
Will always be the Box J boys to us, though.
All the great fans have made the trip. 8 games here and 1 game in Moncton on the home schedule for the Ticats. In 2013, it'll be Edmonton Eskimo football near midfield when we come back.
You have to like the commitment that the Edmonton Eskimos have shown to using Hugh Charles. And I thought it really showed up in their last possession. They got into a 2nd and long situation and still ran the football. And that's one of the things you want to do with it is not be too predictable in terms of when you use it. That the other team, 2nd and long, those defensive linemen can't just pin their ears back. Linebackers ready to blitz.
2nd and 4. And it's a keeper for Riley, and Jamal Johnson waiting for him with a posse of Ticats, and he'll be dropped short of the first down.
Edmonton tries to set this one up with the receiver Kerry Koch and running back Hugh Charles getting out in front as blockers for Mike Riley. Koch is going to waggle across. Charles is going to get out in front, but keep an eye right in the middle of your screen on Jamal Johnson, who spies it and then kind of tracks it from behind. Once he's got a clear line to that quarterback, he just explodes like a cobra.
Approaching 5 minutes of this second quarter. Lamar back. Last time he had trouble with it. This time Grant Shaw's got difficulty and skies the punt just beyond the line of scrimmage. And on a hop, Bro will play it. And there's the 5-yard, no yards. And so difficulty fielding the football. And the Hamilton Ticats will have better field position than they would have expected.
Well, hockey's got rink rats, basketball's got gym rats, football's got this guy, J.C. Sherritt, here at the stadium 4 hours before game time. The first guy here, out on the field all by himself. You know what he does once the first whistle blows? Well, this is how he gets himself ready to roll on game day.
Ticats take over at the 45, so a net of 6 after the 11-yard punt by Grant Shaw. A run up the middle by Gable into J.C. Sherritt's neighborhood.
Yeah, based on the year he had last year, Chris, you might have a lot of young players starting to show up 4 hours before game time. Single season CFL record, 130 tackles for the Edmonton Eskimos last season to lead the CFL, named the league's most outstanding defensive player in the process.
Former running back and then started in college as a fullback. He didn't like that position.
There's no glory in that.
Moved to middle linebacker when Shane Emery transferred to UBC. There's Samuel Jaguar with a catch and a first down grab for Jaguar, who had just won last week. He's a little disappointed. Burris said, stay with it. You might get beat in week 2.
Well, there could be a different guy every week in this Hamilton Tiger Cat receiving corps. Henry Burris trying to keep everybody involved. Jaguar, another guy in the shuffle. He's flipping sides this week. With Unrea Jones and Andy Fantus out of that receiving corps, he moves from the short side to the wide side.
In the heavy rain, a play action fake, and Burris jumping it off for Corey Grant. Stretches out, and believe he has the catch at the 40-yard line. And if they rule it a catch, it's an 8-yard pickup. They will spot it at the Edmonton 40-yard line.
A little quick hitter there for Hamilton. One of the suggestions for the Tiger Cats, one of the things that makes Ken Austin's scheme a little bit different, see Grant get the arms underneath that one, is that there are always adjustments. There are adjustments on every route depending on coverage. Receivers have to think on the fly. That's where you really miss a veteran like Andy Fantus.
2nd and 2, hit off the Gable, and he ran into one of the receivers, I believe Ellingson, who was showing fly sweep, and so execution problem will stop the Ticats short.
Well, still getting the timing down in week 2. If you watch from the bottom of your screen, Ellingson's going to show up late. He's got to get across there in front of Gable.
Brandon Lang, the tackle. So a loss on the play, 3rd down. Joe Burnett is back. Bartell looks to the corner and is able to get that one down at the 10-yard line. Terrific kick, and there is a flag, and was Bartell roughed up. Brandon Lang was there. Flag is in that area. Let's see if the Ticats get a first down out of this.
I got roughing the kicker. What do you guys got? Okay, so we go back to the line of scrimmage.
The official preliminary call. Davis Reed talks to Lang.
Yeah, you can't let him off the hook.
Major foul, roughing the kicker. Edmonton number 98. No yards. Hamilton, 5 yards. We're going to go up 10 yards. First down.
Watch for Brandon Lang coming from the left side of that defensive line. Contacting the kicker while that leg is still up in the air. You saw a bump on Grant Shaw's kick after the fumble. No roughing call on that against Sam Scott as he was out of his kicking rhythm after picking up the fumble.
So fresh set of downs for the Ticats. Burris stands in, looks deep into the end zone, and it's knocked down. Aaron Grimes. The intended target was Ed Gant as that training camp matchup continues.
You wonder, Chris, if that wet ball affected Henry Burris's release on this one. Not a real clean getaway for him as it hung up there a little bit and wasn't a tight throw. That allows Aaron Grimes to be well positioned on the play. You see him inside that receiver, head turned, just running hip pocket, timing that jump.
Second and 10. The Eskimo 32-yard line. They go empty. Pressure comes on over the middle. Gant, and he got hit by Grimes, and the ball falls incomplete.
Grimes versus Gant continues with the young defensive back getting the best of the receiver so far in this ball game.
Grimes replacing Rod Williams onto the Minnesota Vikings in the NFL, and Kivas Reed told us a couple of weeks ago that he thinks Aaron Grimes is easily in the top 10 of fastest players in the Canadian Football League. So Kanji comes on. He missed from 42. This will be from 39 yards out. Trying to get Hamilton within 6. Bartel puts it down. And Kanji gets it. Waterloo native gets one in these elements, and it's now 16-10.
One of the league's most reliable kickers a year ago, Luka Kanji, hitting on 89%, and a great comeback season for him after missing the entire 2011 season with Saskatchewan.
But the Lang penalty cost the Eskimos 3. It's interesting to note that Lang stayed in the lineup this week. Armando Sewell, because of a ratio problem, was the defensive lineman who comes out, not because he took penalties last week, but because they wanted Lang for special teams, and on a special team penalty, the Ticats drive extended and they get 3. Under 6 to go first half, and Edmonton takes over at the 35. Charles sloshing back to the line of scrimmage, but no more. Hugh Charles had 2 100-yard rushing games last year, and he has one already here in week 2 against the Ticats.
When you're dealing with a running back like Hugh Charles, the Hamilton Tiger Cat says, let the rain keep coming. You want to have as slow a track as possible. With Hugh Charles playing on the turf, you saw the speed that he has when he can just explode to the point of attack. Here he's got to be a little bit more careful with his footing. Eliminate some of that quickness that makes him so dangerous.
10. Riley looked wide side, now the other way, and he'll throw it away. Closest man to it was Kuhorn, but Delvin Breaux was all over him. And it's a 2 and out.
Well, Mike Riley takes a big hit on that play with big Craig Marshall closing in on him. But a good throwaway for the first-year starter here. We saw the turnovers, interception issues last week as he had 3 picks against, including what we'll call the fatal one to end the first half.
Third 2 and out. Registered by the Ticat defense, who had only 2 last week in Toronto. Shaw under pressure, and he just got it away. Lamar from his 33. Here's Lindsay Lamar across midfield, but a flag down. Calvin McCarty collars Lamar down at the Edmonton 42-yard line. And let's check Murray Clark's penalty marker. learned very quickly that every kick to Lindsay Lamar could be dangerous.
Well, and whether there's a holding penalty here or not, we'll find out from Murray Clark. Edmonton's got to get down the field on this guy.
On the return, holding. Hamilton number 40. Major foul, face mask. Edmonton number 46. Go ahead, 5 yards, first down.
So Eric Norwood was called, and so too was the former Hamilton Ticat Nathan Kanya, acquired by the Eskimos for special team work. So the ball spotted right at midfield.
We'll just take a quick look at when Lindsay Lamar catches this football. Nobody's getting down the field on him. He's got a ton of room. You don't want to get that guy that much of a head start, that much of a head of steam.
Here's Gable off the right side. Not much there. Sherrod submarining to make first contact.
CJ Gable against some pretty good competition. Won that starting running back job coming out of training camp. Avon Coburn, of course, retired, but the Ticats returned Siobhan Walker, who's been a scratch in the first couple games of the season. Great early season sensation in particular for Hamilton last year.
One of the most celebrated high school players in California, as you mentioned, a true freshman at USC, and a solid career there till his senior year in a game in which he fumbled the ball twice, got him in the bad books of Pete Carroll and on the sidelines. There's a quick hitter for Gant, and incomplete, upended by Grimes, and that's been a fun matchup.
Clearly a bit of a feeling for Henry Burris and the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the team that adjusted its game plan over the last couple days once Andy Fantuz was injured.
Marcel Young nearly came up with that football off the fingertips of Grimes, and he had one go off his hands in Edmonton in the preseason that was returned for a touchdown. Play stopped, and the Eskimos have called a timeout with somebody missing on that special teams unit. There's Terry Eisler in charge of that group.
Maybe some confusion up front. It looked like they had 12 out there. They're going with 2 deep men. Perhaps because of the weather conditions, Kerry Cope joining Joe Burnett deep.
So they get their signals straight. This was just under 3.5 minutes on the scoreboard here at the University of Guelph. Bartel again lining it into the corner. It's dead, and Burnett gets bounced out inside the 15-yard line.
Well, Josh Bartel has mastered that end-over-end punt, and he just gets this thing, his last 2 kicks, just gets it to die where it hits. He doesn't have to worry about the spin or the bounce. One of those tricks he learned in Aussie rules football.
38 yards and no bounce. He's a master, isn't he?
Yeah, when he gets down where he's aiming coffin corner, that's where you see him adjust his technique, and he goes for that end-over-end drop. And watch this thing on the wet field especially, just dies where it hits.
Got the 60-degree wedge going there. And again, Mike Riley not enjoying good field position. Could be the final play before the 3-minute warning. And off the fingertips of Hugh Charles, who they want to get involved as a receiver more. And an incomplete pass, a 6-point Edmonton Eskimo lead at the 3-minute warning here in the first half. As Jamal Johnson and the Ticats defense starts to dig in. Coming up at halftime, GMC live at the half. In Paul LaPolice's playbook, he'll deal with the weather conditions, how teams handle it, and Dave, Jock, Matt, and Schultze will have coin toss, the best and worst of the week, and this is certainly the worst conditions of the week. Second and 10. Quarterback keeper. And Riley hits the deck underneath Jamal Johnson. And it will be a punt situation for the Eskimos. And Ticats should get it. Great field position here. And maybe you a chance to take the lead before this half is done.
Well, the Ticats benefited on that play call from the fact that they didn't get much of an upfield push. All their defensive linemen were kind of at the line still waiting for Mike Riley. Looked like they got a late jump.
Shaw's last punt was 11 yards. Their second last punt, Lindsay Lamar is back waiting on the Eskimos side of midfield. Shaw gets that away, and it's a good one. Backpedaling Lamar to the 50. Across the midfield stripe. And dropped at the Edmonton 49-yard line. Good field position, a 43-yard punt. Let's check in with Ludwig.
Well, Chris, obviously a lot of rain and a lot of water accumulation. As you look down on the field here, a lot of puddling. And I asked a few of the players about the footing, and they said it's a little slippery. They can deal with it. But, I mean, you can see in spots the puddling is severe. And you wonder, the drainage system here may not be the best, and how that's going to accumulate if this keeps coming down as the game goes on.
Was a lightning warning here about a half hour before the game. That passed through, and that was the good news. The bad news is the rain followed, and it continues. Ray Burris sets up, fires, ball is caught. Ellingson with the grab. Ellingson with a 120-yard receiving day in his CFL debut last week at a Florida International.
Well, and Ellingson, Ken Austin would suggest, is one of the guys who has caught on very quickly to this Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. Student of the game, but also a guy who had a chance in playing arena football to learn a little bit about the waggle and learn a little bit about the league, as his quarterback was Adrian McPherson, former Montreal Alouette.
And Henry Burris was doing a little scouting watching those two, and Ellingson caught his eye. 23-yard pickup, first down, back inside, Bakari Grant wrestled down at the 20-yard line by Burnett. So gain of 6 for Grant.
Once again, Bakari Grant working against his former teammate Marcel Young on this play.
Going to mark him at the 19, so give Grant 7.
And we're seeing him a little bit more involved, as I mentioned earlier, as he moves in from the wide side, wide out position to where he'll play primarily as the boundary slot.
Good physical receiver, good blocker. Numbers affected by the downpour. 2nd and 3. Pressure over the middle and off the hands of Ellingson, incomplete.
And little question, because we've seen a couple of those off the fingertips. We saw it from Hugh Charles on the last possession as well. That wet, heavy football affecting the receivers a little bit, affecting the quarterbacks. We've seen Burris in particular having a little bit of trouble with his release.
So 3rd down, and Luka Kanji back on. Looks like the rain letting up a little bit. .26-yard attempt. And Bartel, the holder, gets it down. And Kanji puts it through. So after 16 straight by the Eskimos, Ticats have responded with 13. And it's a 3-point game. Well, we mentioned a new stadium upcoming in Hamilton, and it continues a trend in the league.
Yeah, it's been a busy time. CFL Stadium started in Montreal with the addition of some seats back in 2010. A couple new stadiums next year. Saskatchewan coming in a couple years after that. Last week, of course, we had the grand opening of Investors Field in Winnipeg, Investors Group Field.
And there's folks in Calgary saying, yeah, we got a new dressing room and training facility as well. So
everyone's had a bit of a facelift in recent years.
At the 35, Hugh Charles left side, and Charles gets across the 45. Another first down run for Hugh Charles, and again over 100 in this first half.
Well, Hugh Charles, part of that revolving door at running back a year ago. He's lined up directly behind the quarterback, Mike Riley. Nice zone scheme here, and he just reads it, makes that cutback. Good cut block right at the point of attack. The backside guy, Calvin McCarty, opens up that hole for him.
118 for Charles so far on the day. First down, Riley through his reads, and jump ball, Marcus Henry can't bring it down. Working against Arthur Hobbs. Marcus Henry in today with Shamad Chambers on the 1 game injured, as he took a hit shot last week.
And they like the flexibility that Marcus Henry gives them in that receiving core. But good coverage there by Hobbs on the play. Henry, a guy they can line up as a tight end a little bit as well. Allows them to use more personnel packages.
2nd and 10. Riley's got time. Wants to go deep for Isaiah Sweeney. And almost picked off. Knocked down by Eric Harris. Pretty good matchup for Sweeney against Harris, but maybe that went football tough to get it deep.
Yeah, Sweeney, we know this guy's a burner. Scored a couple of very similar touchdowns in the preseason. Just streaking down the sidelines, former track star at the University of Houston. Eric Harris getting a lot of playing time. On that field side, passing downs.
41 seconds left. See if Lamar can give Burris field position for more points before the half's done. Shaw, the end-over-end kick. Lamar has trouble with it, and he does get back on it. No return, as he'll cover at the 32. So just over a half minute remaining for Henry Burris and Ken Austin here in this opening half.
Henry Burris had a career year last year, got off to a good start statistically last week. 3 touchdown passes, that moves him now to 303 all-time. Creeping up on somebody we know.
Yeah, a guy on the panel's looking over his shoulder right now, isn't he?
Pretty select company there for Henry Burris.
Absolutely. 86 yards passing in this first half. He'll hand it off to Gable, nothing doing. J.C. Sherritt, along with Don Oramacion. Check that, Ted Laurent on the stop with Sherritt.
And J.C. Sherritt, among the league leaders a year ago. There he is right in the middle of your screen. Spying through to that running back, Gable. Scrape, and then steps up underneath that block. Stick him in the hole.
Grant and Gant to the sidelines, and Lindsay Lamar comes out on offense here with Trevor Ocampo. They'll give it to Lamar, a burst. Munoz the tackle. It'll be short of the first down. Up at the 41, it'll be 3rd and a yard or 2 with 4.7 on the clock.
For all the offensive fireworks last week, and we've seen Hamilton throw the ball a lot here today, haven't really got that running game going at all. Neither with Gable nor Lamar. We will see some 2-back sets with those guys, also with Big John Delahunton at fullback. 21 yards on the ground so far today.
No time on the clock, and they'll just take a knee and finish things off. It was a terrific start for the Eskimos, exploding to an early 16-0 lead. Henry Burris and the Ticats answering with 13, and it's a 3-point game at the half on the campus of the University of Guelph. Touchdown by Hugh Charles. The Eskimos extend the lead to 10, headed to the 4th quarter.
And the Hamilton Tiger Cat offense has been held in check, and the key is right at the line of scrimmage. You're seeing a lot of pressure from that Edmonton Eskimo front. Defensive line doing a great job, and especially noticing those 2 defensive ends doing exactly what the Edmonton Eskimos envisioned when they signed Odell Willis in free agency, pairing he and Marcus Howard. They're both spending a lot of time in Henry Burris's face.
A lot of emphasis on plug and play in Hamilton, but I can't help but think this is a game where Andy Fantuz would be pretty handy as a weapon for Henry Burris.
Yeah, no doubt. He's one of your key guys, and even more so in this offense. When you look at Kent Austin and the sort of uniqueness of his offense, experience in it is a huge a huge benefit. Andy Fantuz is the only guy on this team who's played in Kent Austin's offense before, so he understands the adjustments that the receivers have to make.
Bartel sends Burnett back inside his 15. Mark Beswick gets a piece of him, but Burnett stayed upright, and a good return back across the 25 for Joe Burnett.
Well, now the big test as we get into the fourth quarter of this football game. We've seen the Edmonton Eskimos have a lot of success getting the football to Hugh Charles. Well, now it's crunch time, protecting a lead, final 15 minutes. Everybody knows you got to use this guy. We'll see how well the Eskimos and that offensive line execute here in terms of getting them the ball.
Of course, conditions have limited the offensive numbers. You could say Mike Riley has managed this game well so far. Fakes to Charles. There's Calvin McCarty. And he'll direct some traffic and get a block and get across the 45-yard line. The man Kavis Reed called the X Factor this week, so we thought we might see a little more of Calvin McCarty, the senior man now in Edmonton Eskimo service in his 7th year.
And I think you're going to see a lot more of this from Calvin McCarty. He's going to motion across. Hamilton's thinking block. Calvin McCarty fakes that block and slips out into the flat. Fantastic play call based on what they've done a lot in this ball game. You go with the run look you've given them, play action off it. Nobody accounts for McCarty because he's been a blocker up to this point on that look.
19 for the Vancouver area native. Riley rolls, and this time it's Kerry Koch in his hands. Another Edmonton first down as Koch is tripped up, and there's a penalty near the end of the play. And let's see what that's all about. Nate Kuhorn.
There's no infraction on the play. It was a screen pass. We're allowed to block downfield.
Okay.
First down.
Looked like it was thrown in Kuhorn's direction.
Well, Nate Kuhorn appeared to get his bell rung on that play as he tried to get a cut block right at the end of this play. Kerry Koch fakes run motion. He slips out into the flat, sort of similar look off, different motion to the play where Kelvin McCarty released. You'll see the shot here from Kuhorn as his helmet catches the defender, parks in the knees. He looked a little shaky, headed for the sidelines.
Parks, the rookie strong side linebacker, 16 for Koch, and now Riley takes off on his own. Brought down again by a busy Eric Harris with another penalty flag on the carpet.
Legal contact on the receiver. Hamilton number 2. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's Evan McCullough. Former Argo, Grey Cup champ last year. Free agent signing.
One of the veterans that they're going to rely on in that secondary. He's a guy who's been with Orlando Steinauer, the defensive coordinator, for a few years in Toronto.
Don't read lips, but I am surmising that Ken Austin disagrees with the call. First and 10 at the 37-yard line. Looked like the right guard may have moved. Simming Rotier, former Ticat.
Procedure. Edmonton number 65. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
And it is Rotier.
Chris, I want to take a look back at the previous play, as this is what we expected the call to be. If you watch the defensive end on the left side of your screen, Shamari Williams, number 9, Kelvin McCarty is going to try to release over to that side. Now, McCullough's just in the neighborhood, but it's Shamari Williams who grabs McCarty as he tries to release and interferes with him. So it's the right call, they just had the wrong number on the play.
Down again, first and 15, Hugh Charles, and there's Harris that dropped him around the 40-yard line. So 3 straight plays with flags on the field.
Okay. Up 5, please, Ricky. Yeah. Back to the line of scrimmage, up 5. Offside. Hamilton number 40. 5-yard penalty.
Now that's Norwood. In his first game, number 40, Eric Norwood out of South Carolina.
I think that's the 4th penalty on Eric Norwood here in his CFL debut.
Which is at least 3 too many. he get one or not?
I think he can get a freebie in game one.
First and 10. Riley is flushed. Throws to the wide side, and there's Kuhorn, who bubbles back. And down at the 20-yard line has another Edmonton first down.
Sometimes that wide side receiver is going to get a little bit extra room. The defenders will slack off a little bit because it's a long throw. Nate Kuhorn out to that wide side. You see how far off the defender is. Mike Riley sees that big cushion, tons of room as they try to leave him alone to go with those inside routes. Riley did a nice job looking him off and zings it out there with some velocity.
So in a position to enhance a 10-point lead. 3.5 minutes into this fourth quarter. Good-looking drive being engineered by Mike Riley. And he'll throw to the near side. Charles isolated against James Patrick. Beats Patrick and then gets taken down as the Ticats rally to the football.
Well, that's Hugh Charles juking his way out of a phone booth. He and James Patrick, a couple of former Saskatchewan Rough Rider teammates in a small space here. Lots of motion there, but the rush got to Riley in a hurry, but he delivers it right on target. This is why you want to get Hugh Charles the ball out in the flat. Good shake there on Patrick.
Greg Marshall came in to clean up, and now it's 2nd and 2. Short drop, looks one way, and now a takeoff. Follows a block, lunging and sliding in. Was he touched or not? Looks like it could be a touchdown for Edmonton. Riley says I wasn't touched.
Yeah, he went head first, not feet first here. I don't see any contact.
They're going to mark him down at the 1, and Riley looks in frustration.
Mike Riley points for Matt Carter to pick up the block in front of him.
There's a little water slide in, 6 carries, 52 yards, but marked at the 1. Would you challenge that? Yes, they will. And on cue, Cavis Reed is trying to get the attention of Murray Clark and has the challenge flag on the carpet.
Yeah, and the contention here is, as a quarterback, if he slides head first, it's different than sliding feet first, where you're giving yourself up, where he's going to be sort of marked down where he hits. Mike Riley's going head first. He's diving into the play.
Gives us a chance to talk about the quarterback who has been sharp on this drive. And he had an interesting comment for us yesterday. Everybody's saying he's a young guy. You feel like he's been around a bit, but he said, if I'm halfway through the season and not playing like a veteran, then we've got a problem.
Yeah, exactly. He understands that this is going to be a learning process for him. And mentioned again, just a couple starts under his belt coming in.
Challenging the ruling on the field. The ball carrier was down by contact. Review the play.
Riley on the drive, 5 for 5, 67 yards. And that run that might be a touchdown.
Yeah, Riley leaves his feet untouched. He wasn't tripped, he wasn't touched, he wasn't pushed, wasn't hit. It's sort of entirely under his own power that he goes down and goes forward. No one touches him before he crosses that goal line.
And the fact he was untouched will likely be an issue for Orlando Steinauer and the coaching staff.
Well, you saw the defenders looking like they were more concerned with avoiding each other than ending the play, so to speak.
One of the good young defensive minds in the Canadian Football League. His first job as a defensive coordinator. A lot of changes, work in progress for Orlando Steinauer. Such a big part of that defense in Toronto last year.
Yeah, worked with a essentially all-new secondary last year in Toronto. Looking to recreate some of that magic here in Hamilton.
After review, the ball carrier was not touched. It's a touchdown.
Mike Riley gets to the end zone, and the Edmonton Eskimos expand their lead on a big fourth quarter drive.
And Mike Riley deserved that one. 5 for 5 for 67 yards through the air. Nice job using his legs, mixing it up in terms of the play calling. You got to love what Mike Riley has shown here this week after a tough outing in week 1. He's come back strong here on the road.
And again, looking sharp. The rain stops in the fourth quarter, and with better conditions, the Eskimos offense gets some traction. 8-play drive, 83 yards. They take over 5 minutes off the clock. Shaw the extra point. And Mike Riley celebrates a verdict from the command center. Our sack tally brought to you by Pure Later, tackling hunger across Canada. Check in the Eskimos with 3 on the day.
Yeah, Eskimos doing a great job getting after Henry Burris. Hamilton on the board with 1 sack in that revolving door that has been their defensive line in the first couple weeks of the season. But Eskimos didn't get to Henry Burris on that last one. Plenty of time for the Hamilton QB to find Gam.
Anji kicks it off. It's Hugh Charles back at his 12. Follows the blocking across the 30 and still going. A great return by Hugh Charles all the way out to the 50-yard line, and he is punished as he's taken out. There's Ed Gant again, arrived less than a week ago and has a 40-yard touchdown pass from Henry Burris.
Well, we've seen a number of former Eskimos arrive in Hamilton in the early going this season, adding some depth to the roster, but a lot of that you would think has to do with Eric Tillman, the former Eskimos GM, helping out in the personnel department for the Hamilton Tiger Cats and having a lot of familiarity with some of those guys whom he may have added to the neg list over the past couple of years in Edmonton.
11 different former Eskimos now in Tiger Town. First down at the 50. John White in after Charles was shaken up, and he is brought down quickly.
Well, and this creates a big second and long situation for the Hamilton Tiger Cat defense. You see their coordinator, Orlando Steinauer, on the sidelines.
Had an interesting comment yesterday about old school philosophy. Young quarterback, send all the pressure, but he felt differently, that maybe it'd be tougher for Riley to read a defense with a lot of people dropping.
Yeah, if you go all out blitz and cover 0 behind, he knows it's going to be man. It makes it easier for him to decide where the ball's going.
2nd and 9, big play for the Ticat defense. A crosser underneath, and Isaiah Sweeney brought down quickly. Delvin Bro on the tackle. And the Ticats get the 2 and out they were looking for.
A well-defended play. Take away all the deep stuff, force him to throw it in a hurry. Riley takes the underneath route, hoping that the speed of Sweeney will allow him to get the corner on this one. Delvin Bro closes, makes that tackle, forcing a punt situation.
Does underscore the importance of the Hugh Charles kick return, though. It did give terrific field position, and although the offense stalls, Edmonton will now be in a position where Grant Shaw might be able to pin them deep. Lamar back, thinking otherwise. Gonna go after Shaw. And they're ruling that play didn't get away in time. Time count against Edmonton.
Edmonton number 11. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
So Grant Shaw in the back of his mind knows Ticats might be sending the house here.
They're going to tighten down that protection, widen the corner a little bit.
Early snap, and Shaw has plenty of time to get that away. Lamar fields it cleanly. Now on his way, trying to get outside. And Lindsay Lamar get wrestled down around the 40-yard line. 40 on the punt, 19 for Lamar on the return.
Oh, one of the great personal stories happening here today. On the right, Neil King of the Hamilton Tiger Cats playing his first CFL game And if that's not special enough, gets to play it against his brother, Ryan King of the Edmonton Eskimos. A couple of Edmonton natives doing battle here. Graduates of Bev Facey Secondary School. Products of the St. Mary's Huskies University program.
Good stuff here as Burris under pressure. Somehow got away. Trying to load it up. How is he not down? He is now. Marcus Howard finishes him off. Way too many steamboats and no receiver open.
A combination of pressure and coverage. Those two aspects of the Edmonton Eskimo defense working together. Because if anybody's open, Henry Burris isn't getting a chance to see them and throw the football because he can't set up, can't get his eyes downfield. By the time he does, everybody's covered up again.
However, there was an offside penalty against the Eskimos, so a reprieve for Burris. It is not raining right now, but we can just see to our left that the storm clouds are coming in again, so better conditions right now. Burris may have to hurry to take advantage of it. Grant, incomplete. And it will be 2nd and 5.
And again, that ball coming in low. Tough catch for Bakari Grant. The benefit of that penalty, Hamilton still gets 2nd and 5 here.
Dark clouds on the horizon. Looks like it's really going to open up here. Revamped Ticat offensive line as Mike Ingersoll out of the game. Greg Royts moved out to right tackle. And the dark clouds looming. Burris again trying to dance. Does dump it off. Charbonneau Campbell makes a man miss and gets a first down. Big play by the young Laval product. Donovan Alexander back in the lineup for Edmonton after missing week 1. Knocks him out of bounds, but not before Charbonneau Campbell has 15.
Yeah, huge play by the young guy. Nice job. The right side of that offensive line. Picking things up, but Charbonneau Campbell making the defender Marcel Young miss. Henry Burris staying alive on the play. Can't fault the effort of the Hamilton Tiger Cats right there.
5 catches, 63 yards for the second-year man out of Laval. At the 51 of Edmonton, first down. Burris steps up, will take off, and he'll buy a few extra yards before stepping out at the Edmonton 43-yard line. So 8 for Henry Burris. That should put him over 4,800 yards rushing as he closes in on 5,000 rushing yards to go with his impressive passing totals.
Henry has long been a dual threat, a guy who's athleticism, combination athleticism and arm strength.
And I better make a correction. I'm giving Charbonneau Campo a Laval Vanier Cup ring. He's a Sherbrooke product. My apologies to the folks in Sherbrooke. Second down, quick hitter through the hands of Gant. And now it's 3rd and a yard and a half. And likely the offense will stay on the field. We'll find out when we come back as they get the 3-minute warning. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by GMC. We are professional grade. And here comes the rain again as we anticipated. So the conditions get a little bit worse for the Ticat offense as they try to play catch up here. Under 3 minutes to go. It's 3rd and 2 and they're going to throw for it. They swing it out to Gable. He's got to cut back. Tripped up. Big defensive play by J.C. Sherritt. And it's a turnover on downs courtesy of the all-star middle linebacker.
Yeah, big shocker that J.C. Sherritt would be in on one of the critical defensive plays of the game. C.J. Gable had a little space. Needs to make that one-man miss in space. Get that ball turned upfield, but J.C. Sherritt, if you're going to make 130 tackles in a season, you can't afford to miss many, right? And he doesn't.
3rd turnover of the game for Hamilton. A fumble, an interception now. The turnover on downs. And 3rd and a yard and a half, and Ticats can't convert. And it's really coming down now. Trying to protect the football is John White. Off the left side. Not much there.
John White, understudy to Hugh Charles, very similar type of back, smaller darting guy.
And this might be as heavily as the rain has fallen.
Chris, I hope you brought food because we might be spending the night up here.
Not enough to keep you keep you going. And 2nd and 9. Do we get a timeout called? Timeout's been called, and Riley will head to the sidelines. A couple of minutes to go. We'll set up next week for you. And it begins on Thursday night. The unbeaten Saskatchewan Roughriders pay their visit to Toronto to meet the Argonauts off a loss in BC. Calgary, Montreal Friday. We'll be here in Guelph for Winnipeg and the Tiger Cats on Saturday. Part of a doubleheader as the Lions will be at Commonwealth.
What's your game of the week? What's your matchup?
I want to see if Saskatchewan could go 3-0. That's a pretty good way to start the weekend, isn't it?
It sure is.
How about you?
I'm kind of curious to see how Calgary and Montreal bounce back in that one. Two teams that have big expectations, but both had kind of a tough week in week 2.
These weather conditions are sending some hardy fans to the parking lot here at the University of Guelph. 2nd and 9. They'll stay on the ground, and White has 2 or 3. Brian Bulkey, free agent signing, former Stampeder there on the tackle. A couple of minutes to go. This isn't done yet. 10-point lead, and it's coming back into the hands of the Tiger Cats.
Things could sure happen in a hurry in the Canadian Football League. But Edmonton gambling and keeping the ball on the ground there. That 2 minutes in these conditions, if they can pin the Hamilton Tiger Cats deep, then it's going to be tough for Hamilton to get a whole lot of offense mounted in these weather conditions. Look for a lot of pressure on Grant Shaw here from the Ticats.
Lamar awaits. Shaw's a man behind him just to make sure. Line drive kick hits the carpet, and Lamar finally gets a hop. And what great cover downfield that time. Josh Jesse, the former BC Lion, was there in a hurry along with Mike Miller and Nathan Kanya. And it's a long field for Henry Burris.
That's a long field, long day for Henry Burris here today against the Edmonton Eskimos. Limited to 15 of 30 passing, 199 yards, touchdown, critical interception. Mike Riley, nice bounce back game for the S first-year starter. 2 touchdown passes along the way. One of the guys making Riley's job easier, no doubt. Hugh Charles, 13 touches, 147 yards.
That early 70-yard touchdown romp by Charles. Pass to the sidelines is caught, and Ben Gant has the grab.
Gant, the recipient of that fourth quarter touchdown pass from Henry Burris.
Can you have whiteout conditions and rain?
Wow. This is something.
So the Ticats have to play through that and find a way to break through against the Eskimos, with time a huge factor now. Underneath the pass caught by Bakari Grant. Tomaso Munoz in on the stop. Short gain. They need a big play here with just over a minute left now.
Yeah, the Edmonton Eskimos will give them those 5-yard plays until time runs out.
Trying to keep everything in front of them now. Burris sidesteps now downfield. There's Bakari Grant. Another catch, gets out to stop the clock. 18-yard pickup for Bakari Grant, who has been as reliable a target as Henry Burris has had today.
Kind of the most senior guy out there in terms of service with the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
5 and 64. It sounds like you're almost underwater here too. We're battening down the hatches for the final minute. First down, more pressure. Burris gets it away, and it skips short of the intended target, Gant. Try football, that might have been a big play. So under a minute to go. One headset has shorted out. We'll try another for Dwayne.
Be happy to get out of here without getting electrocuted, Chris.
It's the only consolation. The Thunder and Lightning predicted earlier passed by. Burris has it stripped and reaches back to grab the football. Eddie Steele around it. There's Don Aramasion celebrating. And it's third down and long for the Ticats.
A pair of defensive tackles from the University of Manitoba. In there on the play, Aramasion getting a hand on the ball to tip it away from Burris.
So the Ticats be the only winless team in the league, barring something miraculous at this point, and the Eskimos will join a large group at 1-1 after week 2. 6 1-1 teams, 2-0 Saskatchewan Roughrider Club, and Ticats will be looking for their first win here in Guelph next week against Winnipeg. Unless Burris has something to say about it here. Up for grabs, it's picked up. Chris Robocamba with a flag on the play. The former Ticat has his first interception as an Eskimo, unless this is overturned by penalty.
Holding. Hamilton number 67. Penalties declined. The Edmonton ball, first down.
So the fourth turnover of the game, the second interception thrown by Burris. And now the Eskimos will come out and run off the rest of the clock.
But a well-deserved victory here for the Edmonton Eskimos, offensively, defensively. They've been very impressive. Henry Burris, another one, as he steps up to try to throw the bomb here, it's fluttering. And by the way, I've consulted with my personal quarterback guru, Larry Justanis, who says when that happens with a wet ball, the quarterback is trying to grip it too tight. Former Acadia star, Canadian quarterback here in the CFL.
Heck Creighton. Have to check that. If he didn't win the Heck Creighton, we might have to have an inquiry.
That's right.
Trying to run as much off as possible. Well, a bounce back performance by the Eskimos. They were booed off the field last week at halftime. The Riley mistake that put the game really out of reach after 30 minutes. And if there was any doubt, Saskatchewan made certain of it early in the third quarter, but Davis Reed's team has bounced back here today. Great performance by the front seven. Mike Riley manages the conditions. They got Hugh Charles involved. And another knee.
Well, you imagine what this Eskimo offense might be when they get Charles and Stamps going on the same day. Fred Stamps got his touchdown early, but a quiet day.
Nicked up and didn't practice much this week, and they might have been saving Fred Stamps. But still a streak of touchdowns in regular season games that has extended to 7 for Fred Stamps. And this will do it as the clock winds down. We're a little ahead of it than our scoreboard on camera or on screen. And the Edmonton Eskimos have come into Guelph and won the inaugural game here in the Canadian Football League at the University of Guelph. 30-20 the final as the Eskimos prevailed.